All right, the first week of September is Gambling Harm Awareness Week, the major awareness-raising event for gambling harm in New Zealand. It's an opportunity, of course, to encourage conversations about gambling harm, to reduce stigma and also encourage people to access free and confidential support if they need it. This year's national theme is Let's Talk About Gambling Harm and Young People, aiming to raise awareness among young people and their parents that gambling can be risky and it's really easy to hide. Young people are such a focus. Let's go.
Are we paying these people to front up, or are we paying them to fly to Wellington to eat their lunch? Should you really lose your career for refusing to take part in a 90-minute lesson about Māori culture? This government doesn't actually have any idea how to get economic growth. Show us what you made of, Prime Minister.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.
Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief, proudly sponsored by the Brothers Green. Unlock the innate power of New Zealand botanicals to support your mobility. Try the Brothers Green New Zealand Move Joint Support Tonic and join over 20,000 other Kiwis experiencing easier movement. For as little as $1 a day, you too can experience the power of New Zealand hemp seed oil for your joint health. Always read the label. Take as directed. Supplementary, of course, to a balanced diet. The Brothers Green, Christchurch.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.
Okay, this year, the Problem Gambling Foundation is launching a podcast, The Bet, featuring first-person accounts that explore the real-life impacts of gambling harm. These stories are powerful. They're bold, they're raw, they come from the heart, and each person has something unique to share. It's really good. Joining us now is Andree Froude from the Problem Gambling Foundation to talk about all this. G'day, how are you?
Thanks, Duncan. Nice to be here.
Where are we at? So every year we gamble more, we spend more, do we?
Yeah, about 2.7 billion. So a lot of money spent on gambling, on all the main sort of types of gambling. And, of course, we're seeing online gambling just grow and grow and grow.
What's our biggest concern? So pokies have always been sort of front and centre because people see those in the community. But online gambling, it's really sprung out of the back of COVID, hasn't it?
It absolutely has. And we know that perhaps during COVID, bank transaction data told us that people were gambling on these offshore online casinos. The government's about to licence up to 15 in New Zealand. So we've got that happening currently.
Why are we doing that? Well, and what does that mean?
Well, it actually is a good thing to licence them or to have, guardrails, because what we've seen is just people gambling on them anyway. So they're not protected by New Zealand law. So if something does go pear-shaped, then
it's a gamble.
Yeah.
And so with the licensing of 15 of these sites, I think Sky City Casino is one of them actually. If you have got an online portal there, what does it mean? What will there be regulation around this? Will there?
Yes. So the bill is just making its way through Parliament. It's gone out for consultation, and so essentially what that will mean is they will have regulations that will regulate the whole licensing system, if you like. So all these up to 15 online casinos that get a license will have to comply with these regulations.
And so there'll be rules, there'll be sort of rules around how much you can gamble and when you can gamble and what age. And
there'll be harm minimisation measures, which obviously we're advocating for strongly because we don't want to see people obviously getting themselves into trouble.
Pretty hard though, isn't it, with the online stuff, because it's out of sight, out of mind. It's done in private, it's done in the dark.
Yep.
It's done when you lose all your money.
And they will be allowed to advertise, so we're advocating very strongly for that not to happen. We'd like to see a complete ban.
How are they going to get away with that?
Well, the regulations are supposed to be bringing in tough restrictions, but for us, we want to see a ban on gambling advertising. We're just seeing huge numbers of ads just being...
Well, you can't advertise alcohol certain periods of the day and night and morning, yet you'll be able to advertise gambling.
With restrictions, yeah.
That frustrates you, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, you want to see some change there. And what about young people? I see young people have been added now to the list of this being an issue. So young people have been hauled into this, haven't they, now?
Very much so. And that is one of our biggest concerns, actually, is just how much young people are being exposed to gambling. It's so normalised now in our society.
At teenage years, right?
Yes. Or even younger. If you think about lotto and lotto ads, and what they contribute to normalisation of gambling. You see them everywhere, and they're selling the dream. And then the TAB are blatantly targeting young people.
Yeah. Well, they're using rock stars. They're using former All Blacks, recent All Blacks, to stand in the corner of the studio. I mean, in the lead up to a rugby test match, some of the chatter is about what the odds are.
Absolutely.
And an All Black standing there in front of the bright screen, and that's someone's hero.
Yeah, I know. And I'm old enough to remember when you could watch a rugby game and it was just about the game.
Yeah, yeah, but it was. There was nothing. There was no entertainment around it anywhere, was there?
No.
But with respect to young people, they're getting it through whatever they're on their phones, and they're all on phones, and they're all on them too much, so they're getting exposed.
Well, they live their lives online. We've also seen them being targeted by influencers. So we've seen these unscrupulous offshore operators who are pretty predatory in the way they approach uni students even, and ask them to promote the online casinos, and they'll pay them. So we've seen a lot of this.
It's all on,
happening.
isn't it?
It is. It is. It's like whack-a-mole. You feel like you take one step forward and 10 back.
I was going to say, do you feel like you're making any progress? Do you have any? I mean, who's the enemy? I mean, is everyone the enemy basically because you've got very few friends in this?
Oh, it is really hard actually, and I've done this for 16 years now. And to be honest, it is hard. You have to learn to take the small wins.
And are you getting small wins?
Well, we do. I mean, when you think about pokie machines and in our communities, a lot of councils have recognised the harm they cause. They've introduced sinking lids, and they're really slow to work, but at least it's something. At least there's recognition out there.
Are there fewer pokie machines?
There are fewer. Yes, there's a lot fewer since the introduction of the Gambling Act and since the councils have sort of been introducing sinking lids. But harm-wise and spend, $1 billion going through those machines.
It's $1 billion on pokies.
Yeah, that's in our communities. That's not including casinos.
So it's $1 billion at those corner pubs.
Yep.
And they're not in the wealthy areas, they're in the other areas.
Definitely not in the wealthy
and
areas.
And 40% of the $1 billion, so 400 million gets
distributed to community. It's roughly 320 million.
Is it a win?
Well, we don't think we should be funding our communities from the proceeds of gambling, because if you think about where the money is coming from, it's coming from our poorest communities, and it's being used to fund our communities.
Yeah, and the money doesn't stay in those communities either.
No, it doesn't
around.
Necessarily go back into the community it's come from.
And how do we compare to Australia?
Look, Australians are the biggest gamblers in the world, so they lose a lot of money. They have pokies everywhere. Sports betting is huge. Gambling advertising is absolutely everywhere.
That's
to the
right.
point where an 8-year-old can name a gambling brand.
We'll be able to do this soon too if we allow this to.
Well, I really feel we haven't learnt anything from looking across the ditch, particularly around sports betting.
No, but I sense that our sports betting has lifted a level.
It has.
I sense that it's become part of the game rather than a sort of an add-on to the game. It's become part of it now.
It's
the
totally
way even
embedded.
the way it's presented.
Absolutely. It's embedded in our sport in more ways than one. As you said, you've got your rugby players who are promoting the odds. You've got the ads that come on all the time. So young people are being exposed to advertising. It almost feels like it's a rite of passage for young men to have their first bet on Betcha.
See, it wasn't like that in our day, though.
No.
When I say our day, oh my God, I just can't believe I said that. But you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean.
We didn't have the technology.
No.
So we didn't have technology.
No, we didn't.
You had a phone that you put your finger in. So,
that's right.
So you couldn't, to bet, you had to go down to the TAB, and you couldn't do that until you're of age, and So that meant that you didn't. The first thing I remember about betting was my father stopping at the lotto shop every Saturday morning.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I wait in the car and watch him go through. Golden Kiwi tickets.
That's what it was. I remember those.
I check the numbers on Saturday mornings.
Yeah, I remember those. And I guess gambling is always going to be there, and it's not always harmful, but it can cause significant harm.
And you've got a new podcast.
We have,
and that's going to tell the stories of gamblers, is it? And the stories of loss, the stories of.
Yes, they're all 5 journeys really of people who have been through gambling harm, and it's very bold, very raw. Those stories are from the heart.
Yeah, the loss, when people lose, they lose everything, right?
They do, and it can be relationships, it can be homes, and I think in this podcast that the great thing is that there's also that story of hope. These people are resilient; they did get through it. But for all those people being standing up and telling their story, there's always people out there who are going through something like
Absolute
this.
hell.
Yeah.
And what's the name of the podcast?
The Bet.
The Bet. You can get that anywhere. You can get that
Yes,
where
on
you
your
get
favourite
podcasts. Yep.
podcast.
And what
platform.
about the TAB's monopoly? It's an extraordinary monopoly, isn't it? Because
It is.
there's not many monopolies left in the business world and in the sort of world of commerce.
No, it is very interesting, and I think what we've seen with the partnership with Entain is just Entain bringing their global knowledge, if you like, and marketing strategies and everything into our market, and we've seen exponential growth in the marketing of sports betting.
You've seen
the
they've
introduction.
put some real steroids into the system, haven't they?
They have.
You know,
They
they've powered
have.
it up, haven't they?
Yep, 100%.
It's kind of been done it's been done under the noses of New Zealanders, but we haven't really got that engaged in it. We haven't really put up any protests or barriers, have we?
It feels like that. I think there's been a lot of complaints about the advertising because it's just been, we've seen a massive increase, and particularly around Betcha. So we did a big sports betting campaign recently where we tried to raise awareness among young men, a notoriously difficult audience to reach.
Yeah. Well, they don't want to hear it.
No, they don't. But we sort of turned it on its head a bit and made it, are you being played? And tried to bring across some of the tactics that the gambling industry use.
How do you get, young men, what ages are we talking about?
Well, with Betcha, they are targeting 18 to 29-year-olds.
Yeah, so guys that have just getting their first jobs,
Yeah.
so they're getting
Or
their first pay
still
packets, or university
uni.
or whatever. Yeah, and so they're blowing everything.
Yeah, well, they don't understand the risk, and that's the problem. And because it's so normalised in our society,
Yeah.
they just think it's a normal part of what you do and don't understand that actually.
What does it take
can
to
be
get
risky.
addicted? How long does it take?
It actually doesn't take very long. And I mean, if you think about a young brain, where you've got the frontal lobes that aren't fully developed, and they are risk takers, and they think they can do anything, and that nothing bad's going to happen. It's a really difficult time, and that's in a developing brain. So it actually doesn't take very much to become addicted.
And you see the bright lights of pokies and casino and everything, and then you see the helpline, which is a little card on the side of the pub wall or something. Now, it's quite different, isn't it? The glamour to the loss. There's your loss, and go and suck on that. It's there must be some real, and your podcast will show this, and tell that story. But there must be some. I mean, people probably to the extent where they take their own life.
It does happen, unfortunately, and that's the tragic outcome of gambling harm, is that it can lead to that for people. And
But people are embarrassed too, right?
There's so much stigma and shame around it, and that's why it's great to have this conversation, and it's really great to have a podcast out there because actually people will be able to relate to these stories.
I think you'll have an overwhelming reaction to this sort of chat and to the podcast, especially because you're telling those raw stories.
Absolutely.
There'll be so much comfort for people that they can hear other people have been. Yeah. The losses are huge because people just keep chasing it, don't they? Which
is part of the addiction. And we really don't want to frame it as being an individual problem because these products are designed to be addictive.
They're targeting communities.
Yes.
And so they're targeting low socioeconomic?
Yes. I mean, when you think about pokies, over 60% of venues are in medium, high or high deprivation communities. You've got your communities that are disproportionately affected, so Māori, Pacific, Asian and young people now. Because
so young people's just been added to that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What worries you the most? I mean, I know you can't probably single anything out, but what's been the worst development that you've seen in the last 12 months?
I think it is young people, really. I think it's the sheer grey area between gaming and gambling. So you've got young people engaging in gaming, and then there's all these gambling elements within the games, and that is just a trajectory onto gambling.
Because it's that soft subconscious drop into so they're playing whatever they play, Roblox or whatever, I don't know, these things, and then suddenly online casino pops up. Yeah,
or loot boxes, which is essentially pretty much like gambling. So they have to use real money to purchase something they don't know what they're going to get. and it's just a virtual.
It's the Wild West, eh?
It is.
And unless we ban social media for under 16s, and I'm a big fan of, I'll go as far as saying ban devices for under 16s. Hey, it's not going to hurt them.
Well,
What they don't know, they won't know.
No, that's right.
But the horse is bolted, isn't it?
The horse has bolted, yeah. That really has. And we would like to think that we take a public health approach and it's about prevention, but there's a lot that has already happened that it's going to be hard to not be the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff again.
And do we have an ambulance at the bottom of the cliff? Are there services for these people?
Yes, yeah, free and confidential. They're out there, and that's the other thing we want to really get out there, is that there's help there if people need it.
Most people lose?
Yes, they do. I can actually say that most people do, and that a lot of the money that the gambling industry make is from people with gambling problems.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.
About 1 in 5 people in New Zealand will experience a problem with gambling in their life. There are strategies to prevent and minimise gambling harm. Nearly half of all gambling harm comes from low-risk gambling, okay? This is part of the problem, that you start and you can't stop. The 2023-24 New Zealand Gambling Survey shows that overall 64% of New Zealand adults aged 15 and over participated in gambling activities in the 12 months before the survey. About 30% to 31% of adults reported gambling online via New Zealand or offshore providers. That's all sourced from independent advice. And the 2023-24 New Zealand Gambling Survey found that Māori, Pacific, some Asian communities and young people are now more likely to be affected by gambling. Okay, so those are the latest harm minimisation facts that we can get to you.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.
That's us, folks. Thanks so much for all your feedback and support. Get in touch through our social media at Duncan Garner Podcast, of course, on TikTok and Instagram, or flick us an email at duncan@rover.nz. To my team, Brady, thank you, mate. We'll do it all again, of course, tomorrow. Remember, life's no dress rehearsal. There is no curtain raiser. This is it. We live in one of the best places on planet Earth. So get out and enjoy it. Have a great day. Watch the gambling. Take care, New Zealand. All the best.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.
Thanks for listening to Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief, sponsored by the Brothers Green. Feed your gut what it needs. Digest Gut Health Protein Powder supports natural digestion and gut health. Made with premium Canterbury-grown hemp powder and a unique blend of active kiwi fruit enzyme powder and kiwi fruit skin extract, combining natural prebiotics and a nutrient-rich profile to complement a balanced lifestyle.